business right away, which has brought her two future leaders that are going to probably go out this month, which is really, really exciting. So I can't wait for Cheryl to share. So take it away, Betsy.
Okay. So Cheryl, tell me how long you've been with us so everybody gets caught up here.
It was 4 years in January.
Okay, great. And you came in with a lot of good experience, right? From another company?
Yep. 7 years prior.
7 years prior. And it seemed like how many trips have you earned? You've achieved a lot
all
of
but one with Touchstone.
That's amazing. So has it been 6, 5, 7, 8?
I'm thinking 7.
Okay. Congratulations.
Thanks.
It's always fun to see you on those trips. It's always fun to catch up because we had our moment in Aruba, right? Remember that? Together. I'm so intrigued. It sounds to me like something shifted after you were in Las Vegas. Was Las Vegas a trigger for you, or was it just coincidence?
Las Vegas was a definite trigger, yes.
And what happened?
What happened is I changed my mindset. I actually started, I think I was making things way too hard before, so it was just an eye-opening experience of learning that I was a little bit prejudging some people, and I probably shouldn't have been doing that, making it really easy and just going after some people and sitting down and making it real easy. 15-minute conversation about the business.
When you say, go back for just a moment, and that's fantastic. Go back for a moment and talk about the prejudging. Where did that come from? Was that just through, I've been doing this business for so many years, I think I can spot them, or what was that?
I think because I've done jewelry sales for so long, that there was a certain person I was looking for always, and that I think Lindsey opened my eyes to that fact, that look at some business women, look at some women that are very successful in business, and those are people I probably would have never ever approached.
Why is that?
Because in my mind, they're too busy. Fear of rejection, probably, because I would think they'd say, oh, I don't have time for that, you know. So, and it was all, I think, something in my mind that I felt, that those aren't people I zeroed in on. But when I came home from Vegas, those are people I zeroed in on.
What did you do right after you came back from Vegas? In addition to switching your mindset, what did you physically go and do?
Text many business women that I felt were successful and that I actually wanted on my team, and asked them if they had 15 minutes to sit down with me and talk about the business and just give me their point of view. Not that I was talking them into the business, I just wanted to tell them about it. And if they had 15 minutes to spare, then we were all set, and not anyone turned me down.
Wow.
So, yeah, they all, when you make it just 15 minutes of your time, I promise not to take any more than that.
Ooh.
You know.
Did you meet them in coffee shops? Did you go to their place of business, or where did you meet them?
Actually 3 people at once. I went to a local library, and another place was a McDonald's, and another place was a winery. So all different places, but
when you met with them, did you have a format that you followed?
I did, yeah.
What did you do?
I had the GLAM plan. I had all the tools that Touchstone gives us. The opportunity brochure. I basically used the opportunity brochure and went through it with them, showing them and talking about it. And then I said, I know you've been to some of my parties and you've heard the ask me about my job. And it's, they're always the same questions over how much does the kit cost? How many trips have you been on? Blah, 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 blah. But some of this stuff is what you don't hear. Mm-hmm. And I presented that, they were offering a kit rebate. You could actually earn all of your investment back depending on your sales. And, the GLAM plan, how much the company's going to give you. And I went through the GLAM plan real quick. And it was funny how many people said, I would be stupid not to do this. And I basically said, yeah.
And out of all the ones who met with you, is that where you got the 5 through that, or some, like some came through that and some came from parties?
One came from a party, and she was a hairdresser that I didn't know. So of course we had that special bond.
Yeah, right.
And something different, of course, coming back from Vegas was, instead of asking her, would you like to have a in-salon party, that's something I would have definitely said to someone that I just met that was a hairdresser. I said, oh my gosh, have you ever thought about doing this business? Because this is so fun to do with your hairdresser business. We dress women up all day, and this just adds more to them, and she's like, oh, I don't know. I said, well, let's just schedule the party first and we'll talk about it later.
Nice.
So
nice.
That led to me sending her the video from the home office. Thank you, home office. That has been a godsend, I think.
How have you been using that video, the new sponsoring video with the 3 ladies in it?
I've been using it a lot. I've been, I first offered them an opportunity call with like Lindsey does every week. Mm-hmm. And even if I know they didn't get on, I text them and I say, I'm not sure if you got to get on, but if you did, can you tell me what you're thinking? And then they'll say, no, I didn't get to get on. I didn't have time. I say, well, I have a 3-minute video. If you could just take 3 minutes out of your time and listen to it, could you get back with me? And one girl said, sure. I've never had a party for this girl ever. I just know her through another person, and she bought her kit without me even knowing she was going to do that. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So that was like, oh my gosh, I was like texting Lindsey, you're not going to believe this.
Lindsey, what do you have to add to what you were observing as these people were coming in with Cheryl? What were you noticing about how she was starting them and their progress since then?
What I was so excited about was that when she came home, she had such a plan and a vision, and I could see it. Like she was like on fire, and she didn't let anything stop her. She didn't talk herself out of it or anything. She stuck to that plan, and I saw her confidence building each piece. And when that first time around the confidence came up, it just led to that next time and the next time and the next time. And I'm calling it the year of Cheryl, right? Because every time she messages me, it's just so exciting. And I said, she'll have to text me going forward if she has to tell me anything bad. Warning, this is not our usual text, because it's just been so fun and positive, and I can just see it. It's all in her confidence that she's getting these results. The new people that she's working with, and the old, I should say, not just the new, but they're seeing this buzz. They're partnering with her even more than ever before. And you can just see it all happening, and it's like fireworks every day. I love it.
Are the Cheryl, are your team members now sponsoring as well?
Yes, and even some girls that have been with the business a couple of years. I mean, they'll text me and say, you're not going to believe this, but I think I have a sponsor,
What are they doing differently?
I've been sharing what I'm doing with them.
Ah,
And I think that's a huge thing.
nice.
You know, it's a huge thing.
Leading by example. Cheryl, that's exciting.
Yes, I love it. Thank you so much, Cheryl.
That's fantastic. Thank you. Really appreciate that. Ladies, what questions do you have for Cheryl? Anything in particular? Liz? I'm sorry, I muted all of you. I apologize.
Oh, and muted me. I have a quick question, Cheryl. The original outreach text, like when you originally texted these people, what did you say other than, like, I got the thing about 15 minutes, but like, what's the initial approach?
The initial approach was, I am seeking, I have been challenged since I came back from Vegas to sit with, I think I said 5, I might have said 10 business women who are very good in business. And you are on my list. If you could at least give me 15 minutes of your time that we could sit down and chat, that you could humor me through this interview. That's what I said.
Humor me.
Humor me through the interview.
Cheryl, had you, were they already familiar with your product? Like they were either customers or hostesses, or you were literally reaching out to people that were?
I'm going to say most of them, yes. I did have one girl who was only at a party, and she was a referral from a hostess. And she said, if you want someone that's good in business, you should approach that girl. And so I did. And she joined the business. Yeah.
Cheryl, did you offer an incentive if they sat with you and talked to you or no?
No.
No. So because I'm kind of type A, so these are the steps you took. So you came home and you made a list of successful businesswomen and you asked if they would take 15 minutes to chat with you. And then I got the verbiage. And then you would meet them at different places and you would go through the opportunity brochure, the glam plan. And then, so tell me again, with the video, when you sent the video, were those separate people that you were offering the business opportunity that you invited onto? Is that different?
I first went through the list and sent them to all these business women that I knew. All right. Mm-hmm. And then if by chance Lindsey was having a opportunity call soon, I said, if they were on the fence or whatever, please listen to this call. If they did or didn't, I approached them again and said, I'm not sure if you got on the call or not. Even if I knew they did, or even if I knew they didn't, I'm not sure if you did get on the call or not. But if they said, no, I didn't, I said, if you have 3 minutes of that you could listen to a video and give me some feedback. If they did get on the call, what are your thoughts and stuff like that.
And then you texted the video if they did.
Right.
Okay.
And I was excited about the video. I was like, oh, the home office just made this awesome video, and I think you can relate to one of these people.
Yeah.
That's a nice way of putting it. Mm-hmm.
I love your verbiage. I love that.
Thanks.
Cheryl, thank you so much. I really appreciate it. Terri, I wonder if you'd be willing to introduce Jess Cipher next. Jess is new with us, and Terry's going to explain a little bit about some of the unique and exciting things that Jess has been doing.
Okay. Well, Jess is a good example too, because Jess came to a party with me, and it was a party with a repeat hostess. I'd done several parties for her, and she was like, I'm only having 2 or 3 people come. Do you still want to come? And I was like, yes, I definitely still want to come. It's her friend Carrie, and I liked Carrie anyway, and I always had fun with them. So I was like, yeah, I definitely want to come. And so I did, and we just booked, but at first she was like, she wasn't going to book. Then she booked a party, and then I gave her some business information, and she read it, and we did a call, and she goes, all right, I'm going to purchase my kit tonight. And then she decided not to get started with the business. She still did her party, but decided she wasn't going to start. She had a great party. It was like 1,400, I think, Jess, and bookings and this and that. And then later she decided, she did another party with a friend of hers, a joint party. And she decided to start at that point. And that was in October. And in her first month of business, in her first 3 months of business, in her glam plan, not only did she promote to group leader, but she sold over 11,000 in sales. She started 4 new consultants, and she's almost done earning the trip. So that's exciting. Yeah.
Oh,
I know, right?
gosh.
It is really incredible. Mm-hmm.
Oh.
And she's created a team that has such camaraderie. You know, she truly has this group of women that really support each other and stay connected to each other. And they had great sales last month, in the month of February, as a team. So she's really creating a good group there, and she's had a lot of success. And she's a mom, a teacher of 2. She's got 2 girls, and she works a lot of hours at school. She puts in a lot for our kids. She's in our school district, so she puts in a lot for our kiddos too. And she's married, and I'm hoping I'll get to meet her husband on this trip.
Without a doubt.
Mm-hmm.
So Jess, I've got about 30 questions for you, but we're gonna keep it to just a couple.
She's like, oh shoot, you didn't tell me about that.
Just real quickly, Jess, I wonder what when you get up in the morning, what is how do you juggle all of this? Like for the business side of it, what are your priorities for Touchstone Crystal on any given day? I'm just curious. There's no right or wrong answer. I just want to know how you're doing, how you do this.
So I'm trying to think priorities. I mean, I need to write everything down. So actually in my phone calendar, I have a ridiculous list for every day. It probably looks insane, but I make sure for every day I have which parties I need to just check on, whether it's the host or, for host coaching or updating for their party. Also, who am I following up with sponsoring? Do I need to, when do I need to touch base with them again? I just put it in. And so if it's a Monday and I text someone and I know, okay, I need to follow with, I'll give them till Wednesday. I make sure on Wednesday I put it in. So at the start of the day, I just look at my calendar. Okay, what is it I have to accomplish today? And if it's a weekday, then just after school when my kids are at swim or, whenever I have a moment, I just pull that out. What do I need to do? And just do as much as I can in that moment.
So you just keep it very mobile. How have you created this nice synergy among your team members?
I don't know if I can say it's been just, I feel very fortunate to have this group of very dedicated ladies. I know the first one who joined me is my closest friend, just ironically, but again, you never know, because she loved the jewelry, but kept telling me, oh, this business is you go for it. And then once I joined and I kept talking to her about it, and I see her every day, and then randomly, and I don't even know why I said it. I just said, I really wish you would do this with me, but I know you won't. And she said, well, actually, I've been thinking about it. That was a good eye-opening moment for me, because you really don't know. You never know what the opportunities are. And things can change at any moment. I have to think about myself, that I at first said no, and, a couple times, and then came around. So, and then from there, it was just doing what Terri told me, here's this video, or here's this, link, or just send it out to who you think might be interested. Hostesses, I sent that out, and it took a couple of months, but the next person on the team came around. She had been to a couple more parties. She was a hostess, sold a whole lot. Came to another couple parties, and she kept saying, I'm thinking about it. And then the last time she said she was thinking about it, I thought, oh, I'll have to check in with her next month. And it was the next day. She messaged me and said, okay, I'm ready to talk. And the last one was a party where only 2 people came. And on her checkout form, she circled 6 on interested in the business. And I'm ready to ask her the question. She had already filled it out. I was like, oh, well, let's talk. So I just, and they're very, have a lot of zest and motivation. And a lot of that's just them. And I definitely keep in touch. We have, we have, a group text that we're just constantly
Nice.
in touch, and we try to carpool to places if we, for like a workout party night, just so we can get touch base in person too.
Right. What tools are you finding to be most useful to you in helping your new team members start well? Anything in particular jump out at you?
I honestly feel like just being there to answer their questions.
Okay.
And telling them I'm here, please ask me a million questions, because I still ask a million questions.
Yeah.
And I know you had presented a list of open-ended questions to help them to talk, because sometimes I can talk and I have to remember to just ask that simple question and sit back and listen.
Is that helping?
Yes.
Who has questions for Jess? I could go on with questions with her. This is fantastic. Who has questions for Jess?
Jess, I loved how you said that, asking them questions and getting them open-ended questions and getting them to talk. That was so difficult for me, and it took me so long to overcome that. I would literally write on a sticky note on my computer, "Shut up, ask questions." But I had to stare at it because you get so excited. You just want to be like, I love that you shared that. That's so awesome. But it's a good reminder.
Yeah. I should probably make a sticky note for myself.
We all need one. Jess, how many parties do you like to do per month? What works for you?
My goal is 4 or 5. If I have 6, that's fine too. It's funny. I've only really, my first parties were in November, and it's been interesting. It's only been a few months, right? The transition, I find that, one party might, someone might cancel or postpone, but then another one fills the spot. So I'm kind of entering this limbo area, right? Where I have 4 or 5 for the month, and then notice one goes, and so I go get another, so I feel like it's been 3 to 5 lately, but I just keep my target on trying to get to that 4 or 5.
Right. Got it. Okay. That's terrific. Any other questions for Jess? No. Fantastic. Great work. And excited to see you in Hawaii.
I hope.
It's a long month. We have all kinds of time.
Okay.
Okay. Thank you, Jess, so much. Now you can stop being nervous. Lindsey, next one we want to introduce is Mary Kudla also, because she's doing some things differently. And Lindsey, maybe you can share with us a little foundational on what Mary's up to.
Sure. I'm going to let her take it away and tell you what she's done differently and what she recognized within herself. But I just want to say, with Mary coming back again from Vegas, she sponsored 4 new team members, and has a very her sponsoring pipeline also has grown like tenfold. Same like Cheryl since returning. But on top of that, her sales have increased. Her party count has increased so much, and she's had a shift, and I'm excited for her to share that as well, and just to share like what she does when she finds herself coming up short. And I love that she doesn't give up ever. Mary, if she puts her mind to it, she's going to do it. And I tell her many times, I had to quit last year. She sticks to it out of pure stubbornness, I think, sometimes. I love it. So, right, Mary? Right?
Any stubbornness, yes.
But
for good or bad, that's what I am. Yeah, I went from in the fall.
Wait, let Betsy ask you first.
Oh, okay.
Just as a preface, how long have you been with Touchstone?
October was 2 years, so about 2 years, 4 or 5 months.
Okay, so continue with what you were about to say. I just wanted to give everyone a framework.
Sure. In the fall, I was looking back at my calendar. I had 3, 4 parties, usually 3, and a couple events. I was pretty big into events in the fall. But now my parties, my calendar is more like 6, 7, and 8. And I kind of attribute that to a few different things. I feel like I'm a pretty good hostess coacher as it is, but I think I've changed a little bit in my approach to doing it. It's always been to get bodies there at the party, to get as many people in front of as many people as possible. But I'm also focusing a little bit more on talking to the host about be sure to get those fun ladies that really love parties involved, even if they don't love jewelry. Because they're potentially going to be your next hostess. And also keep in mind anybody that, is looking to make some extra money or is really good in business. So that kind of gets their head going, more so than just getting their good girlfriends there to have a good time. And I explained that that's going to bring you the best rewards, and, we can continue to party. So I think that's helped a little bit for future bookings. And I don't know that it's come through with sponsorship yet, even though I did have some good sponsoring opportunities. My checkout process really is where I think that I made a good improvement. Just asking the questions that are on there, making sure, I think Terri, you said it at one point, that you say in your presentation, if you don't ask these 3 questions, like there's something or other will be free. And I was like, oh gosh, but I don't have to go quite that far, but I kind of keep that in my mind. And I just am really trying to ask everybody those questions. Sometimes they leave them blank and I kind of make a joke about it. Or if they even circle ones as, they're not interested in anything, I'll be like, oh, you're not interested in free jewelry. Why is that? And then that even just kind of gets the conversation going a little bit. And they're like, oh, well, I just can't. My house is no good for a party or whatever. And then that gives me opportunity to say something else, like, oh, we could have it at a restaurant or a coffee shop or even at a friend's house if you aren't comfortable with your place. And then, sometimes they kind of sit back and they're thinking a little bit more about it. And that has given me like the doorway to say, well, is it okay if I follow up with you in a couple weeks? And pretty much they all say, yeah. And so I'll just put a little note on the order form. And kind of to go along with that, I wasn't doing this for a while, and I don't know why. Anybody that does express some interest, I put them in Glam Central as a booking and leave it red where I don't have their information. And then they're right in front of my face. And I date it as like when to follow up with them. So if they said I can follow up with them in, 3 weeks or 6 weeks or whatever it might be, then I put that like, Judy Smith for April 1st. So that way April comes around and I can be like, all right, I'm going to circle back to her and say, hey, just want to check on your jewelry and see how much you love it. And also, you said I could follow up with you asking about a fun girls' night. So I think having that even more so like right on the screen in front of me is pretty good. I'm pretty good at scrolling back through my phone and looking for past messages and following up. I follow up with people. I don't let silence deter me. And, maybe they're thinking this girl's crazy and they blocked me or something. I don't know. But until they say no, I just keep asking. I'll be funny about it. I'll be like, oh, you're making me cry. It's, so hard to dazzle you in jewelry. All I want to do is give you a good time. I would love to hear from you. Whatever, just to kind of
sense of humor. Right.
Yeah. The one other thing, sorry, is when my calendar was kind of low and because fall was a good time for events, I like to do an event here or there because that gets me in front of new people. It gives me a whole new opportunity pipeline of party people. So I'm on the lookout for those, and I have one at the end of this month. I don't really need it at this point, but it's just a great opportunity, and maybe I can even pass those on to some of my new consultants.
Right. And have you found all of your new team members at these parties that you've been booking, or are they from previous?
One of them was from an event. Actually, she didn't start off as a consultant. She just had a party and she turned into a launch. So that was great. And then another one actually was a last minute girls get together that I was tagged in on Facebook. Somebody said, hey, would you she was looking for vendors. Would you be interested in doing this fun girls night? We're looking for vendors. And so I read into it, and she's like, oh, it's this weekend. I'm like, oh my gosh, okay, what the heck, I'll give it a shot. So it ended up being at this woman's nice big house. She has this party every year. She brings like 4 or 5 vendors. And I ended up booking a party with a girl from there who turned into one of my sponsors. So you just don't know.
You don't know. It's all a rabbit trail, isn't it? That's great. I'm so excited to hear all this.
Yeah, I did kind of step even further out at that because it was just an off-the-wall random party anyways. And I actually said, you know, hey, I'm looking for 2 more women to join my team. And she kind of perked up at that.
That's such a neat way of putting it. I really like that. I'm looking for 2 more women to join my team. 2 more women. Yeah, that's wonderful. I love that verbiage. And we could say that anywhere we go. I'm looking for 2 more women to join my team.
2 fun, successful women like yourself.
Right. That's great. That's really good verbiage. Any questions for Mary? I just am so happy to hear all of this. This is really wonderful.
I just love her verbiage, especially the making it fun at checkout. Like, you aren't interested in free jewelry. Like, I love that. I think that's brilliant.
I always forget to really engage the hostess, you know, asking her, you know, who do you know that loves to party? Who do you know that might be interested in the business? And I forget that a lot. And as I'm like taking my notes, I'm like, gosh, one of the things that you just said, Mary, you said, when you said, I'm looking for 2 women to join my team, I thought, gosh, when I'm doing my notes, I'm noticing that you're actively pursuing what you're looking for. Huh. And I think I forget that a lot. Like at these parties that you're going to, you're saying, who do you know that loves to party? You're actively pursuing what you want to happen there at the party. You know, when you're reaching out to book these parties, you know, I don't let silence deter me. That's huge, you know, because how many times is silence we're like, oh, they're not interested. I'm like, but it's so interesting because everything you've said, I'm like, you are pursuing your goals. And that's so huge. I need to remember that when I'm hostess coaching, you know, to remind them, who do you know, and that the silence should not deter me.
It's really smart.
Yeah. It was really smart.
Very smart.
Yeah. Really good verbiage.
And I have to thank Lindsey too, because of course, for everything, but, yeah, I have a tendency maybe in a way like Cheryl to help people that I feel need it financially, because that's why I got started. But saying that kind of puts it in a way like saying I'm looking for 2, you know, women to join my team kind of makes me get out of that mode. Like I'm looking for someone motivated to join me rather than, hey, you need this.
Ooh, nice.
Yeah.
Mary, can I ask, when you follow up, when you're doing that initial follow-up, are you doing it like by text or by email or by, like, are you physically calling them?
95% of the time is text. Yeah. Yeah. I've left some voicemails. I've called and left some, you know, they don't always get answered, but it's better. And I'm trying to tell my team this too. It's better when you have this huge pipeline of people to talk to, because then you don't just have like 3 or 4 people that you're picking at. So you can kind of spread it around.
What is your frequency of continuing, like you said, until they say no, you just keep contacting them? How much time do you let go or not let go between reaching out?
Yeah, I look at where I know this person from. What, you know, was it an event? Did we ever have any conversation together? If they said they're going to, because I do have a few people that said, oh, let me check my calendar, I'll get back to you, and then they disappear. So I feel like that is like right there. So I'm like, hey, did you forget about me? You know, I have this date and that date, and then nothing. The next day I'll be like, thoughts. A couple days later, hey, it's me again. I'm going to a party. I want to be able to give you first grab at these dates. So I vary it, you know, I'll put a couple days in between, and then, you know, if there's still nothing, I'll let it go for a little bit. And then, you know, try again in a week or 2 weeks. And I honestly think I went and messaged somebody 4 or 5 times before she finally responded to me and said, "Oh my God, I'm so sorry. Everyone here has been sick. I haven't been, trying to ignore you. Just give me a little bit of time." So at least she opened the door again.
Nice. Yeah. A lot of times it's just a bandwidth issue. Yeah. Great. Any other questions for Mary? Boy, you all are so amazing. We could be doing this all night, couldn't we? Great, Mary, great job. Congratulations. I'm very excited for you. So next up, I wanted to do a quick recap with Heather Taylor. Heather spoke with us last month on the call and was having so much success. And I was just interested to Heather, to have you give us a quick update on what you've learned over the last month or so about sponsoring and starting New People Strong and that sort of thing. Just some more of your mojo and refining of your word choices. I'd love to have you share some more with us about how that's going for you.
Okay. It's going really well. Hi, everybody. I just sponsored 2 more people this week.
Wow.
And basically, I'm just still doing the same thing. I'm finding people who I want on my team, who I think would be fun to work with, who I think would, who are motivated. And just telling them, hey, I want you on my team. You should do this. I want you to do this. And just like being excited about it and encouraging them. And it seems like every time I find someone that I want on my team and I tell them, you should do this. I want you to do this with me. They're like, okay. So, I'm not really sure why they're saying yes so quickly and easily, but I'm just still being excited about it and just, hey, let's do this. All right.
It makes me wonder if it's because of the confidence with which you're speaking.
Uh-huh.
That you're confident. You're not scary or like pushy.
Yeah.
You're confident and you're enthusiastic and you're clearly having fun.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I wonder if have any of your team members reflected back to you on how that was compelling for them?
Yes. So the one that I just sponsored, so I asked her, so I signed on October 27th. And right out the gate, I was texting people who I knew I wanted on my team. And this person worked with me. She was one of my desk managers at the dance studio. And then she moved. So she's been gone for about 4 years. But she was always a ray of sunshine. I knew right off the bat I wanted her on my team. So, within that first 3 days, I texted her and she said no. As she looked at the stuff, absolutely not. I'm not doing this. And I was like, okay, no problem. So I didn't, really bother with her again. I didn't want to, she said no. She said no. And so she actually just came down. I had an impromptu party because I had a party cancel. And she happened to be here visiting. So I said, come on over. So she did. And I didn't even do my presentation. Like, it was a last minute. My friends came over. I made food. We had wine. And so, it was just like the jewelry's in the other room. Go look. And we just kind of had fun. And she came and never once looked at the jewelry. I never mentioned, hey, I really, you should do this with me. And then by the end of the night, she saw how much fun we were all having. And literally, since I didn't even do my presentation, I still sold $500 of jewelry just because the jewelry is so amazing. And she went home and texted me the next day and said, hey, I want more information. So I gave her more information Monday. She said, give me till Friday to think about it. And then she would text me a question every day. Question. I'd answer it. And then Friday, she's like, okay, sit down, I'm in. So as soon as she texted me that, my first question, like normally I would have said, woohoo, yay! But I was like, why? And she basically just said, I sat there and watched everybody and I saw how excited you were about it and how everybody just talked about how much they love the jewelry. And I just think this is really something that would, her kids are all in college. She's got one that's going to be gone in, 4 months to college, and that's it. And so she's like, this is it. This is my time. You said it yourself. Like, I need to start taking time for myself, doing something for myself. So, that's kind of what she she did, and I don't know if that answered the question or not, but
it definitely brings up an interesting point that I'm seeing a thread. I've been hearing this whole last week or so, that a lot of times the first answer that's no is not the final answer. And so often with a little more information and a little more time, women go from that no to a yes. I mean, Jess was very much that kind of a story. The really funny thing is that some of our top leaders were originally no's. No to a party, then maybe yes a party, and then no to the business, and then eventually yes to the business, and then suddenly found that they were really good at this. You know, kind of like with you, Heather, same story. You were not interested in this for the longest time, even though Terri had represented everything so beautifully to you. It was not. But she didn't stop, right? She didn't give up. She knew she wanted you and would be excited to have you. And you're doing the same thing. So anyway, I just think it's really neat that the follow-up to Mary's point is going to become even more important the longer that we're in this, because you're going to accumulate all these really wonderful people. And if we can keep up with them and keep sharing and keep the conversation going over time, we're going to pick up a lot of these really great gals.
And
that's awesome.
For me, like to piggyback off what you just said, it really just wasn't the right time. But I had medical things going on, and of course I'm not going to tell Terri that. Like, I'm not going to be like, no, because I have this and this surgery, and blah, 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 and you're just going to say, no, I'm not interested.
Right.
So you never know anybody's reason for saying no. It could be something really serious. It could just be, so it just might not be the right time. So if you have someone that you want on your team and you know they would be really good, keep after them, because eventually it might be the right time.
Hey, Betsy.
Don't give up, Mary says. Yeah.
Can you hear me? I was just going to say, just along those lines, I've got a lady who I knew that she would be great at this. She was a co-host, and, we chatted, and knew she had some interest, but she just said there's some things going on. Later on in a conversation, I found out she's actually separated and getting divorced. So obviously, a lot's going on. She said, follow back up with me in June. But the funny thing is what I've been doing with a few people lately who I know have some interest, or I think they'd be really good, is I'll just drop some little things in our conversation. Like she made a comment about she was having so much trouble choosing with her host rewards, like the things she wanted. And I said, well, when you sign up as a consultant, you're not going to have that issue. So I just start, like dropping those little things, almost like it's a done deal that they're going to be a consultant at some point, and just kind of like drop it in there, like just really nonchalantly. So, when you're a consultant, you're not going to have to do such and such or whatever. So I think that's the point.
Yeah. I love that.
Well, Lori, you weren't necessarily, you and I talked about the business when?
A year before she started.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, well I didn't have any interest. It took me. In fact, the funniest thing is I thought the jewelry was ugly. When Jacqueline told you, I was like, that is so not my style.
She said that she's like, that's not my style of jewelry. I'm like, I just gotta move on, whatever.
That's right. I guess she really did work on me for about a year, but
it was a year. Funny. That is so funny. I love it. Great. Thanks, Heather. I really appreciate it. Okay, so you ladies are amazing. So now you're bringing all these new people in, and I want to have Terri speak for a couple of minutes, and then Liz real quickly as well. Terry's doing some things for using the Ready, Set, Glam set of materials, and Liz commented to me that she's had some success using parts 2 and 3, which were introduced to us in Las Vegas. And so I wondered if both of you could, Terri, you maybe share what your steps are, your methodology is, and then Liz, just share anecdotally of what it's been like with these last 2 new team members using the 2 and the 3. That'd be really helpful. And then I'll wrap up with some specifics of because I know you're going to get antsy at the 60-minute mark, all of you. I know it. I can see it in your eyes. And then I'll wrap up. So Terri, go ahead.
Well, and I'll make it quick because we talked about this before. I want to first tell you what my biggest mistake is in doing this, because I feel like since we've been doing the Ready, Set, Glam, I've been really trying to do it in person or on Zoom with the person that sponsored them. And I'm using the slides, but let me tell you what my mistake is that I realized the other day is that I wasn't using the script because I feel so, I'm like, I feel like I do it a million times that I could probably do it in my sleep. So I wasn't doing the script, but what happens is when I'm not doing the script, I'm not duplicatable to a new leader or to someone who wants to be a leader. You know, I talked to a group of gals earlier today that are working towards leadership. And this, if I did it like that and they saw me do it, I think that might stress them out. So I'm going to go back to really reading the script. There's a reason they have the script. And I got the slides with the script on it and printed it out so I can actually put it in front of me. It also keeps me from getting off track because sometimes as I'm doing Ready, Set, Glam and I get to a part that I'm really excited about, or I might just keep talking about it and it gets me off track, whereas I know I need to stay better at keeping myself on track. So that's my mistake with it. So learn from my mistakes. But I think it's been really helpful just to do the Ready, Set, Glam because it shows them what the benefit is. So when I'm working with them and I'm sitting down with them and I'm doing it, and literally we go step by step. Let's look at your calendar and schedule the dates you have available. Let's work together on your contact list. Who do you think would be interested in the business? I would say that most of the time when women come in, they're like, and I was the same. I want to do the business, but I do not want to sponsor. I'm not interested in sponsoring. You know, that it's just, let me just get in and get started first and get some parties under my belt. Once I do that, then I'll think about sponsoring. But with this Ready, Set, Glam, I'm finding so much more success in having consultants sponsor in their first 3 months of business. And I'm really feeling like the ones that sponsor right out of the gate are the ones that are more successful and tend to stay with the business. So that's really it. Just using the script, going through it step by step with each of them, staying on script so you don't get distracted, and really showing them their potential. They don't know their potential until we show it to them. Mm-hmm. And I'll never forget sitting with Heather. She's a great example. Her and I sat down together. I remember exactly where we were. And she's like, I'm just going to do my party. She had her parties booked because we had talked about that. And she's like, if I sponsor, I sponsor. And I was like, yeah, but Heather, you could earn this trip to Maui. And look, when you sponsor, you get $500 in free jewelry. And she was like, what? And I go, yeah, even though they see it, it takes us really showing it. Once I just showed her her potential, literally before I got home, she had sponsored her sister.
Huh.
You know,
I really just didn't understand. I didn't understand how to do it. I didn't understand how it worked. And I didn't understand how easy it was.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. So it makes a big difference just sitting down and talking through it.
So Terri, you're using the slides and the script as a work session. So
Mm-hmm.
you're doing the lists, you're doing the fill out the income statement, you're doing it, you're not just showing it to them, right? It's like when we do it as a group call, I don't do it as a work night, which right. is why what we do on Monday nights, for example, within our organization at 8:00, it needs to be the second time that they see it, or the first time of 2 times, because the sponsor or the leader still needs to do it with that person individually, right. To your point, because then they can work through all those.
Right.
That's a very good distinction. I'm glad you said it that way, because it's a work session basically.
And I can't tell you how big of a difference it made. It's made such a huge difference.
That's amazing.
Mm-hmm. And I really suck on 2 and 3, so I'm excited to hear from Liz.
What's that?
I really suck on 2 and 3, so
okay.
I'm excited to hear from Liz.
Okay, so Liz, go for it. Tell us how you frame this, and when do you do parts 2 and 3 with people?
Let me actually back up. I know that this isn't what you asked, but I actually do start with 1, even if they've done 1, because like I'm basically following the time frames that the company has laid out for us. So 1 happens within 24 to 48 hours of them joining. So that may be before they've had a chance to jump on. It may be after they've heard it once, but they've heard it and they're getting so much information in. Even if I'm not going through, like I'll go through it one-on-one on Zoom and be like, so you went over this on your call, with Betsy. Did you have any questions about that? Right? And did you have a chance to write out your why stories since then? Right? So do the work thing but like Terri was saying, like, so I start with 1, okay, and then 2, I'm doing within a couple days of that. Like the last couple I did was within 2 to 3 days of call 1, because it needs to be before their launch party, because it goes through host coaching and it goes through the 5-part party presentation.
Okay.
So it's also kind of a working, but like at that point, they've theoretically scheduled their launch, right? So we've got the date on the calendar. It talks about, actually, if it isn't already on I can't remember which call it is, where you actually teach them how to put it into the calendar. Like, because I'm actually going through and showing them Glam Central. Like I'm going through the script, and then where it says, show them this, it's like, shift over, open up the thing, show them what they need to see. Make sure that they have the party in, and then show them the host coaching checklist, and hey, I'm going to coach you the way that we're going to be coaching people going forward, and here's the host coaching checklist, and it goes through basically, now this is going to be your launch party. You're going to do your own launch, so here's how you do a party. Pay really close attention because you're going to do your own launch, right? And I do some of the theory, that here, it's the 5 parts, and here's why we do each part. Here's what each part is. Here's how I do that part, right? And then, when we get to the booking game, I talk about how there's a couple different ways to do it, etc. And then their homework is to go home and write their party presentation, right? And, work on that and practice it. So I've had a situation, the first one I did, I think I did a class number 1. I think we had 4 girls on that class, and then everything else has been individual. 2 of those were under Carrie, so I actually worked to train my leaders to do their own. So Carrie's taken over the ones that are in her downline for the calls 2 and 3, and then I've done the ones that are in mine. I've done 2 call 2s so far, and I've done half of I did 1 call 3 and half of a call 3 so far. I did 3 call 2. It doesn't matter. So anyway, it's basically following the script, but also like the call 3 that I just did, that one is supposed to be after the launch party, right? So leading up to that, you have them write their presentation and practice it and see if they want to practice in front of you. So far, neither of the 2 girls wanted to practice in front of me, which is fine, but they were both pretty confident because they knew they had to do it, and they put it together ahead of time. The call 3 is right after their launch. And that one helps them, the initial part is with the orders and getting them into the system if they haven't practiced any of that yet or learned any of that yet. So what I found with this last call 3 that I did, it was a half of a call 3, because we spent the hour talking about her launch and how it went and what she did well and what she would have done differently. So it's it's in the script, but it took a long time because she had a lot of questions about how to do certain things.
That's great.
So we ended it at an hour and basically said, okay, we're going to do a call 4, where we're going to do the second half of call 3, because the second half of call 3 is social media marketing, Social Hub, intro to Social Hub, show them where Social Hub is, the Facebook book group is, then how to set that up and whatnot. So I'll train her on that soon. And then I've got my next call 3, I think Monday night, actually. So and you asked me to answer like how it's been, so what's happened. So
can I interrupt real quick? Can I ask a question, Liz?
Yeah, sure.
Do you do them on Zoom or do you do them on calls?
I do them on Zoom.
And do you schedule them? Like as soon as you hang up, are you like, okay, this is when we're going to talk next?
Well, no, we're in constant contact on Facebook anyway. Like I'm in Facebook Messenger. So I do schedule the next one before I hang up. But there was a case where it was like, I don't know what my schedule's going to be like after my launch. Let's talk, after the party. So the party happened. She messaged me immediately with how it went. I'm like, great, when can we talk? She's like, how about tomorrow night? Like, perfect.
On Zoom?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, because I have people all over, and when I'm on Zoom, I can basically have multiple windows. Like I can share my screen and I can show them how to do things and where to find things. so that they're seeing it in real time, right? So if they've come across an issue and they're having a problem, I can show them where to find the answer.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah, makes total sense. Okay. Thank you.
So far I've had 3 girls that are in my specific downline that have gone partway through the program. One of them hasn't really had a successful launch yet, so I'm waiting until she actually has a launch before we get to call 3. The other 2, one of them just hit, all the levels of her glam plan. I think she had 3,500 or something in sales. The other one started a month later, so I think her total right now, she just had a party this weekend. She's at 1,800 so far, even though it hasn't gone in. She'll hit. She's got 2 more parties booked. She'll hit the 3,000 in her first full month as well. Carrie's 2 girls. One of them that I started with, call 1, and Carrie's gone on. She had like over 4,500 in her first full month, and she sponsored 3. The third one went to, the third one went to Glambassador. Tracy went to Glambassador today. So Stephanie is actually trying to hit Hawaii.
Yes.
Okay. She still needs to sponsor 3, and she still needs like 8,000 sales, but she's got it in her, like, she wants Hawaii.
She's speaking on for the meeting night tomorrow night, the national meeting night tomorrow night.
Yeah. So, and then one of her girls is the other one that's also been doing really well. So, I mean, so far, the people that we're putting through the program are just engaged, excited. They're doing their own launches. They're on fire. It's really, wow. I'm just so impressed.
That's really neat.
And I like, for me, that I've got a structure, that I know I've got these 3 calls. They happen at this time. Everybody's going to go through this process.
Right.
And I think it's helping me be a better leader.
Yeah.
The only issue so far is it's a lot to cover, and the calls are really going long. So I don't know how, because especially if they're asking questions. So I don't know, Liz, like you said, you're actually breaking these up into like more than the 3, because I mean, I swear the calls are like an hour and a half or something for me.
Yeah, it's about an hour and a half for call 2. And then call 3, like I said, after an hour, I had to call it because I could see that there was no way we were going to get in to, get the rest of the stuff done. So we'll take that up later. But yeah, if you do it the way they want you to do it, they're long.
Yeah.
The cool thing is that they come away really equipped and confident when we're able to pull it off. And, and we're going to have some people who are not going to want to engage.
And I think each call is totally different. Like you said, some are like, I got it, good. And some are take a long time.
That's a good point. Right. But think about it, imagine, especially for those of you who are newer group leaders, when you're worried about always hitting that 3,500, think about that sense of freedom that you'll have, that when you're starting a new team member, not just with 1 party, but you're starting every team member with 2 or 3 or 4 parties on her calendar, suddenly you're no longer worried about that $3,500. Suddenly you've got plenty of parties on your team to support 5,000 in sales, 8,000 in sales, 10,000 in sales, even with just 3, 4, or 5 people on your team. And so this can totally change the trajectory just by helping them add a couple of parties right in the beginning. Statistically, the people who do several parties right in the beginning are far more likely to stay with us than the ones who just do 1 or 2 really paltry ones and sort of give up because they never got the attention from us. So it's going to be a lot of fun going forward to see how we can get good at this. We're all building a new muscle. And like Terri said, she learned, to use the script. We're all going to find things that are going to make it easier for us. In just a second, I'm going to open it up to questions, but I want to run through a couple of key points to help you frame how to plan your month and who to work with. In the beginning of the call, I was talking about this concept of any minute that you spend with someone who is not in motion takes a minute away from someone who is. And so the key really is you have very busy lives. We want leadership to work for you. We don't want it to take over your life. And the key component in this is identifying where to spend your time and who to spend it with. You know, as sometimes as women, and I say this in general, I'm not being sexist, I just think that we are pretty nurturing, and we feel badly if someone starts and leaves quickly or falters along the way. We feel like it's our responsibility and it's our fault, but we have to let go of that emotion. They are independent consultants just like we are. They have access to everything in the Glam plan. They have access to everything in Glam Central. They have access to you. And if they don't take advantage of it, it really is on them. So the key is to put your blinders on and identify who to work with. So I'm going to show you very quickly a couple of quick ways to do this. I'm going to share my screen. We did this, a little bit of this the last time that we were together on the call on early February. And let me see if I can find where I was. I pulled it up already. So this is a group tree. One of the ways that you can figure out who to work with is to go backwards to, let's say, in your group sortable, go back to, say, January. And let's see who in January was working. And I'm going to show you how to figure this out for those of you who haven't seen this. So let's say you go to January 19, group sortable. And in the sortable fields, you can actually toggle. You can hover over any one of these things on the top row. And there's a little arrow to the right of each column heading. And I click the arrow. And I want to look at PSV, which is personal sales volume. It's the same thing as commissionable sales. And you sort descending, which will show you who sold the most on your team in January. Because statistically, if they sold a lot in January, you're going to want to spend some time with them. So Fran Fulham sold a lot in January. Debbie Pickens did. Fariba did. Holly Jenkins did. Janor did. So I want to make sure that I'm spending time with them. At the same time, I'm making notes of all these people. Then I want to go to February and see the same information and look for some trends. So people maybe who sold in January and didn't sell in February, maybe they're now due for some more parties. So I'm trying to make notes on some of these people to identify who to work with and who to ask questions of. So in February, I'm seeing that Shariza sold $1,100. Well, she hasn't sold anything in a long time. So that was pretty neat. We've got some new people in here. But I noticed, for example, that Fran Fulham is not up here in that list. So I'm going to reach out to Fran. So I want to keep track of who was selling. And then the last thing I want to do is go to March, again with my group sortable. And I want to find out who in here has open parties. So I'm looking for, and this is something that's really nice because this is all sorted by start date. So when you look at start date and you see this new person has 3 open parties, this new person has 2 open parties, this new person has 3, this new person has 3, then you know you're really onto something. So you can be watching for the newer people on your team. But meanwhile, what you're going to want to do is figure out who does have all the parties. So again, sort descending on open parties. Note that open parties refers to parties that are scheduled for this month only. It doesn't refer to, you won't see anything in the month of April. And so, or May or June, you're only going to see the March open parties. So that's a helpful frame of reference. Unfortunately, I don't think there's any way of going back and seeing how many parties she didn't close in February, that kind of thing, and which of them are still open. But here I can see who to work with. And why do I want to do that? I want to do that because I can go back through and help them do a really good party. Like, for example, Kimber, she's really new. She's got 3 parties. I want to find out when her parties are because I want to be able to host coach her through those parties to make sure that they're as good as possible using that host coaching checklist. Same thing with Tiffany. She's brand new. And so I am working with her on her host coaching checklist. And so those are some ways of identifying who to work with. The next group of people that you want to work with are the ones who are just starting to look at coming onto your team. And we didn't talk as much about what we're saying to those people, But showing them the Ready, Set, Glam guide prepares them for those training calls when they do get started. One of my favorite things now is to give potential consultants a Ready, Set, Glam guide in hand. I carry them to my parties now. And I say, oh, I'm so glad you're curious. You know what? Let me give you one of these, because if you can picture yourself doing some of the things that you see in here, you might really have fun with this. And that way I'm already preparing them for everything that's to come. And there are no surprises. They already have the secrets. I've already pulled back the veil of Oz. They now already see everything that we do. And I'm happy for them to have this, because it means that when they get started, they're already on board. They already know that this is the stuff we're going to be talking about. So those are other people that you're going to want to be working with. Is anybody who is in your potential pipeline, get them a Ready, Set, Glam guide and say, I know you're still thinking about this for some time down the road. I wanted to just send this to you because this sometimes helps women figure out if this is for them or not, right? And it keeps the conversation going, which is super important. So that's something that you can do one day when you've got 30 minutes. You can either send those people in the pipeline a hard copy of it in the mail, or you can just send it to them by PDF, because it is the Ready, Set, Glam guide is available. Okay, so I apologize that we've gone so long, but I can't even believe the content that we've had tonight. What have your ahas been? I'd love to hear what your biggest takeaways are. You'll have to unmute. I apologize, because I'd love to hear what you're thinking.
I have one. I remember hearing this in Vegas, but Cheryl reminded me about the challenging, X amount of business women to a 15-minute conversation, even if you're portraying it to just practice, practice on them. So I'm going to work on that.
Love that. Great.
Me too. I like that a lot. Mm-hmm.
Who else? That's a great use of time.
Mary, I liked that you put your bookings in and keep them in the red so you can refer back to them. Lindsay's told me to do that time and time again, but I always forget to do that. So you're reassuring me to do that. Thank you.
Great.
It took me a little bit to make it happen too, but I like it.
It's really smart. Who else?
I like Liz's system because I like systems. And I think I was floundering a little with all three of those. We do them on Mondays kind of as a group thing, but I see how you scheduling it and setting up as a system for each consultant is more beneficial. Mm-hmm.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
And I still think that doing the Monday night ones, it's a catch-all. And when they hear it a second time, it's even better. It reinforces the information. It's not individualized, but a lot of the content, they hear it in a different way when it's in a different setting. And so I recommend people do it individually and then also hear it on a Monday night call.
I agree 100%. I send my people,
You do?
Yeah.
You're good at that. Yeah, you're good about that. It's awesome. Who else?
I know someone said this earlier, but I like Mary's verbiage about just even maybe at the party saying, I'm looking for two more successful, motivated women. Because, we're saying, I'd love for you to join me, but it's not the same as it's very pointed, might make people think about it differently.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Great. All right, ladies. Well, I'm so excited for all of you. Now, I know, Terri, you have your local meeting tomorrow night, but for anyone on your teams, who aren't local, they're welcome to join in on the national meeting night. And for all of you, we're doing a national meeting night tomorrow night at 8:30 for everybody. And we'll be talking about the 5-part party presentation, the why and the how, because there's some things that are not translating, I'm finding, with new team members. We have Stephanie Biter, who is the new team member, almost group leader on Carrie Hertland's team. She's going to be answering some questions and sharing what's working for her as a new consultant. And I had something else. I don't have that actual list in front of me, but anyway, there's plenty more. If you have ideas of things that your team that you feel like your team members are stuck on, or that you would love for us to accentuate tomorrow night, please shoot me a message, because I'll have that agenda written up by about noon tomorrow, and I'd love to and make sure I'm incorporating everything that you think would be good to touch on. So thanks, ladies. You all are amazing. I'm so thrilled by all that you are figuring out. And we have so many simple systems in place, and I love seeing how you're incorporating them into your businesses. So congratulations. This is going to be an amazing month. I know it because I see the party count. And so hold on to your horses, because it's going to be, or get on your horse, or hold on your horse.
Get on your horse.
Do whatever you want to do, but have fun.
Or if you lead your horse
lasso out.
Lead your horse to water.
If you're going to lead your horse to water, make sure it drinks, please.
Make sure it drinks. Parts 1, 2.
I'm not even sure what they're talking
Put Chanel's in your horse's mane.
You gotta wear a cowboy hat tomorrow night, Betsy.
I will do that just
Don't
for you.
even give the company any ideas.
hilarious.
Next time we'll be on a trip to out west on a ranch or something.
Ooh. Ah,
Zip
that's
it, zip it, zip it.
Coyotes.
all right, ladies.
I'm going to ask for cowboy hat incentives.
Crazy
You're
bad.
grounded.
Bye.
Bye, everybody. See you later.
Appreciate everything.
Bye.
Take care.